Okay, so what is this passage about? Why does the church give it to us? Well, the heart of this passage is that phrase, the discipline of the Lord. The discipline of the Lord. Now, what is that referring to? Well, the Greek word here for discipline is called paideia. Paideia. And it has two different connotations. It has a positive connotation and a negative connotation. The more negative connotation is that the word can be used to refer to punishment. Okay, so let me give you an example. From the book of Proverbs, the Greek translation of Proverbs chapter 22, verse 15, it says this: "Folly is bound up in the heart of a child, but the rod of discipline," paideia, "drives it far from him." So you see there, paideia being used to describe punishment of a child as a way of teaching them no longer to be foolish. Right? However, the expression can also refer a little more positively to education or instruction. Right? For example, in the Greek prologue to the book of Sirach that's in the Old Testament, we read these words, quote, "When I came to Egypt in the 38th year of the reign of Euergetes and stayed for some time, I found opportunity for no little instruction," Greek paideia. The author of Sirach here is not saying that he got spanked a lot whenever he went to the city. It means that he found opportunity for education and for instruction. So the word paideia can mean the punishment of a child that is meant to lead them to instruction, or actual just education or instruction. And this is why we get the English word pedagogue, right? Or pedagogy will be someone's philosophy of how to teach. Well, a pedagogue is just that. It's an instructor, okay? Someone who gives paideia is a pedagogue. Okay, now with that in mind, then go back to the letter to the Hebrews and the reading for today. So what Hebrews is describing here is not just the discipline of the Lord. It's, to be quite literal, it's the pedagogy of God. How does God teach his children? Not just teach them the truth, but teach them how to live. And what Hebrews is saying here is that God teaches his children as children, like a father instructs his son. Not just through education, but through discipline. So if you go back and you look, the passage for today is quoting a passage from the book of Proverbs. It's actually quoting Proverbs 3, 11 to 12, saying, "Don't lightly regard the discipline of the Lord, and don't lose courage when you're punished by him." Why? Because the Lord disciplines or punishes him whom he loves. He chastises every son he receives. All right. This is really the heart of the mystery that Hebrews is getting at for this reading today. Remember, the letter of the Hebrews appears to be written to an audience that is facing difficulties and trials and maybe even persecution. And one of the things that can happen when trials and tribulations come our way is that we can think, oh, I've been abandoned by God. God's punishing me because he doesn't love me, and because he's forgotten of me, or he's angry with me, or he's abandoned me. This is a very common, very natural response to difficulties and trials, sickness, whatever it might be, persecution in the Christian life. And Hebrews is saying that's an incorrect way to assess the situation. Just because you're experiencing difficulty, even just because you're being punished by God, doesn't mean that he doesn't love you. In fact, the opposite is true. He goes back to the book of Proverbs and says, just like a father punishes his child in order to instruct him because he loves him, so too the Lord disciplines him whom he loves, and he chastises every son whom he receives. It is for paideia that you have to endure. It's for instruction, in other words, that you have to endure. God is treating you as sons. For what son is there whom his father does not discipline? Now here, Hebrews definitely reflects an ancient rather than a modern context, because a lack of discipline for children is actually a rather striking feature of contemporary Western secular culture, right? But in antiquity, that was not the case. The assumption is a father is going to discipline his son. So that author here can draw an analogy and say, if someone is the son of a man, by definition, that man is going to discipline him, because that's what being a father means. Therefore, if God is actually your father, you should expect him to discipline you rather than be surprised by it.